Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
All right, y'all. So listen, Smackdown is over with, and today I just wanted to make sure I could get through the show and give you guys the recap of Smackdown 100%. And here's how it started. Smackdown kicked off with LA Knight. He decided to do his LA Knight Invitational, and of course, who answered the call but none other than the hometown hero of Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig came out there and made it very clear that he was going to take that championship from LA Knight and bring back this prestige to the title and give that title something worth cheering for, because he's German and not an American. And obviously that was something that he felt like we needed to say. Well, LA Knight made it very clear that, no, bitch, you're not going to do none of that. What you going to do is get your ass whooped. I'm going to hit it and quit it. And I'm going to leave your ass where I found you, right here in the middle of this ring. Count of 1, 2, 3. And then everybody's going to be saying, LA Knight. Yeah. And that's how that went down. So the boys had a nice fight. They had a nice match. It was really fun to watch. Ludwig and LA Knight did great. LA Knight ultimately ended up picking up the win, and that was that. Okay. The next matchup we got was between a tag team match, and it was between Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews versus Legado del Fantasmas, Humberto and Angel Garza. Now, Escobar has been very upset with his squad as of lately. He doesn't like the fact that they have not been picking up wins, and neither has he. He is very, very upset that Legado del Fantasma is no longer the threat that he deemed them to be. And so he has made it very clear that every single one of them is on thin ice. In this matchup, sorry about that, that was my phone. In this matchup, Garza and Humberto did end up winning. It was a few distractions that happened during the match, but Garza and Humberto did end up beating Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. But Escobar made it very clear that not only is Garza and Humberto on thin ice, but so is Elektra Lopez. He feels like she is not. Sorry, I'm in the middle of the show. He feels like she is no longer able to just skate by either. He wants to see results from her as well, which in hindsight, if we're being honest, a lot of the wins that he's gotten was because of her. And so I don't understand how she could be on thin ice, but you're not, seeing as how you can't win anything on your own and your homegirl is always making sure you win and she's always interfering in everything with everybody. It's like at this point, I'm just like, when you can be real about your shit, then you can say some ignorant shit like that. But if you're not doing your own due diligence, where the fights you doing is all on you, or you're not doing your own work, where you don't have no question as to how you won your matches, then you can't tell me that I'm on thin nothing. Okay, you can't tell me nothing like that. You feel me? Like, you need to mind your business. That's what that needs to happen. But let's move on. Let's move on. Now, what they put up next at the top of the hour was none other than Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes don't really have much of a story to pass, but it seems like they have done everything in their power to create some buzz around this match. Now, last week, the issue was, is Kevin going to maintain himself as a good friend to Cody, or is he going to turn on him for that title? Because that title sometimes can turn people into the most vicious and evil people, because I don't know, this gold, man, that gold just, it just has a way of captivating. With all that being said, Kevin made it very clear that he didn't know if he wanted to wrestle Cody Rhodes tomorrow night at Bash in Berlin. Essentially, what he was saying was that he felt like the rumor around the locker room was that Cody was injured, that he had a little knee problem, and that he knew this, and that if he and when he won his match at Bash in Berlin, that Cody, that win was going to be suffered by an asterisk, because his very first Universal Championship match was it suffered an asterisk, and it was questioned the validity of his title reign, because he felt, well, the fans felt that he was given an out because the Triple H helped him win that championship, and that's what kicked off their feud between Triple H and Seth freaking Rollins. With all that being said, you really just have to look at it from a perspective of, okay, from Kevin's side, he's like, I don't want no issues when I beat you. I don't want nobody talking no shit. I don't want nothing. All I want is to hand me my title and I go on about my business. That's it. You still cool, but I'm going to beat you for this championship and I don't want no motherfucking smoke. Now, Cody made it very clear, even so much as to stomping on his knee in the middle of the ring. He said he's 100% and he's ready to go, and he wants the prize fighter and he's going to beat him. Not only that, but he said he understands what he's doing. He said, that's not somebody who's confident. That is anger. You're mad. And he was like, the reason why you're mad is because you feel like it could be that you felt like you weren't one of the ones who deserved to have the accolades about when it came to the renaissance of wrestling, and how you were a part of that resurgence, but you don't get the respect that you rightfully deserve. And that's true. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, that class, that crop of guys that came in like around the Four Horsewomen's time, that crop of guys, even with Seth and them, like those guys did reshape wrestling, and they have been really doing their damnedest to solidify and set wrestling on a different path when it came to those crop of guys. The Bray Wyatts, Bo Dallas, even like it's a certain section of those guys that came from NXT that really have stood the test of time, but also have done everything in their power, not only to put their name in the books, but to solidify their place in this submergence of this change in what wrestling is now. It's back to being cool again. And Kevin was a big proponent of that. And Cody essentially was just like, I know that, WrestleMania 38, you had your big moment with Stone Cold Steve Austin, but not too long after that, the next night, I came out and I had my moment and you had to share the spotlight. Now, to me, there was no spotlight to share because Cody took it. Cody took that spotlight and Kevin was an afterthought. And to be honest, Kevin's match was more of a gimmick than anything and just a cheap pop. And I hate to say that, but that's the truth. I know it was a big thing for KO. I know it was great and everything seemed cool. No shade. This is no shade to Kevin. But Stone Cold clearly wasn't somebody that was out there going to be wrestling no 15-minute match. This was a good, cheap pop for the fans, and of course for Kevin to live his childhood dreams out in front of everybody. With all that being said, like I said, Kevin and Cody was trading blows back and forth. Cody made it very clear. Cody said, when I win at Bash in Berlin, are we still going to be friends? And Cody didn't say anything. Kevin just walked away. Kevin whispered something in Cody's ear and he walked away. We don't know how this is going to play out, but I'm going to give you some tea towards the end of the show when I tell you how this is all going to play out. Now, there was some filler matches in here. There seems that Carmelo Hayes and Andrade are on a best of 7 type of matchup, which is why we keep seeing them going at it. They are now 2-2. Now, how did that happen? Last week, Carmelo Hayes went up against, well, I think it was a week or so ago. Carmelo, it was either last week or a week or so ago. Carmelo went up against Andrade. He beat him. Andrade, was upset because, that ain't how he wanted it to go. And of course, Carmelo was gloating in his face all over the place. And it caused Andrade to be angry and go over the top, but batshit crazy. They started fighting and they had to hold them off. Now they set a match for this week and the boys started fighting this week. And of course, Carmelo won again. Now they got the score at the bottom that these two are 2-2. Okay. So it's been a lot going on. But let's move on. Because, Carmelo and Andrade are locked into this best of 7. And I don't think these two are going to stop. I think this is going to keep going until Bad Blood, in my opinion, which is fine. I don't mind that. It's a good idea for it to keep going until Bad Blood. I think that's a good idea. And then once that's over, whoever wins needs to go after LA Knight for the championship and make that into a great feud. All right. So let's move on. There were a couple vignettes. The vignette that I saw was a backstage segment between not Andrade, I'm sorry. It was between Carmelo. Now, why do I want to say that? The backstage segment, Jesus, was between Baron Corbin, Apollo Crews, and Grayson and Austin Theory. Now, Austin was standing there with Grayson. Apollo and Baron was back there, walking back there, upset over the loss. They was like, we take 2 steps forward, pick up some W's, and then we take 2 steps back by losing these matches back to back. He said it's not working for me. I don't like this. Baron is trying to assess where the situation is going down at. Like, when we gonna get better, And that's when Grayson accuses Theory of saying some stupid shit about girl damn. I'm sorry, but the match is on with Nia Jax and Michin. So I was watching it and I'm like, girl, what the hell? But anyways, so of course, Baron Corbin and them is like, because Grayson basically said that, Austin Theory was talking shit about Baron. Baron didn't like that. So Baron got in his face like, man, I will end you right now. Like, what are you talking about? Like, Apollo was trying to pull him back. He ended up being able to pull him back. And Grayson, because Baron asked him straight up, was like, did you say this shit? And Austin was like, yeah, I said it. And Baron was like, man, I will end you. You understand me? Like, don't fucking try me like that. Like, they was out there about the bang. You know what I'm saying? So obviously next week, those two are going to have a match on Smackdown. But the girls is girling, honey. Anyways, the boys ended up walking away, and Grayson was laughing and giggling and sniggling like that was the greatest thing he's ever done. And Austin Theory is like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? He was like, you keep popping off at the mouth, and I'm the one who have to eat the cost of it. He was like, I'm the one who got knocked out by the UFC champ Terrence. I'm the one who got beat up by everybody. Every time you talk shit, I get my ass kicked, or I'm getting put in a situation where I'm the one who has to take the brunt of the fight. Like, he was like, chill the fuck out, bro. Like he was like, you out here talking about they team falling apart, but you he was like, I think we falling apart. And Grayson was like, yo, I apologize. I'm sorry. He was like, that's how we are in Australia. We just take the piss out of each other, mate. It's not no disrespect. I promise you, like, we cool. Are we good? And he was like, are we good? And like a fool, Austin Theory was like, yeah, we cool. And I wouldn't have been like that. I'd have been like, nah, we not cool, bro. Like, cause you wild out here. You are wild. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, what is y'all doing? Now, Austin Theory, he either finally got into his head that shit is not right, and he's about to turn face and drop Grayson Waller, which, to be honest with you, a good face run for Theory would do him some good. So I'll be cool to see that. It'll be cool to see that and see how he does with a good face run. I feel like that would work out in Theory's favor because, I mean, he been a heel since before McMahon left and came back. And I mean, like, he been a heel since he got on the main roster, and it hasn't changed since then. He needs a restart, and a good restart for him would be a good face run for right now. I think he works better as a face personally, but that's just me. All right. Now, as I said, the match with Andrade and Carmelo happened, and it seems that match is going to be more of a best of 7 series, which I'm happy for. Okay, so the last thing we saw was the match flow with Progressive, and basically they explained the oh God, Jesus Christ. They basically talked about Bianca and Jade. Now, Bianca and Jade have a match for the tag team titles. They have that match tomorrow at Bash in Berlin. And of course, they are motivating themselves, understanding that even though they failure, it doesn't change your goal, your end goal, Failure makes you stronger, or at least it's supposed to. And so the girls was giving their best motivation speech, which we love that for both of them. And I'm not sure who's gonna win at Bash in Berlin, but I am excited to see this match between Bianca, Jade, Isla, and Alba Fire. Final throws of the show was the street fight between Michin and Nia Jax. Now, as I was recording this, that match was on and it is now over. And those two put on a pretty decent match. Tiffany Stratton did come out there and attack Michin multiple times and made it appear as though she was going to cash in with her briefcase, but alas, she didn't, and decided to take out Michin and give Nia to win, but that didn't work out in her favor either. And as she continued to interfere in this matchup, that's when Bayley came back, and Beyblade came out there and took out Tiffany, and then it was left to Michin and Nia, to which Nia was able to pick up the win, and Michin suffered a loss. Although this was her element, it seems Michin is in the 0 bracket when it comes to this type of match. She lost this match to Jada Parker over at NXT, and she's also lost this match currently to Nia Jax right now. With all that being said, ladies and gents, that was Smackdown. It's a very, very quiet go-home show for Bash in Berlin, if we're being honest. But this weekend is going to be a big one because the boys and the girls are going to be overseas wreaking havoc. And then they're going to be back home here on Sunday, causing quite the stir. So let's start off with Bash in Berlin. As I said earlier, Cody Rhodes is going to be facing off against Kevin Owens. And while we love KO and we love Cody, we all know how this is going to end. Cody is more than likely going to retain his championship. Now, there is one thing that I forgot to tell you when it came to the vignettes, and that was due to the Bloodline making their names known. Essentially, what the Bloodline did was they talked about how they're going to keep those tag team titles and they're going to keep a very close eye on this match because whoever wins is going to be the one that Solo goes after. There was also some little things in there that you needed to pay key attention to. When Solo was talking and he kind of slightly paused, Jacob thought it was time for him to give him the Ulafala and crown him with his crown, to which impolitely Solo waved him off. Now, if you aren't paying attention, this is the second time he's kind of sunned Jacob Fatu. Also, Solo last week, when they had to defend those tag team titles against the Street Profits, made it very clear that Jacob couldn't be the enforcer and be a tag team champion. So he had to give that championship to Tongaloa, which in hindsight is fine. But at the same time, when you're looking at how things are playing out, something about this just don't smell right. And I see Jacob Fatu turning on Solo very, very soon. Maybe not in the near future, but sometime soon. With all that being said, ladies and gents, this match will determine the future of the Bloodline as to who they will end up going after. Is it going to be Cody or is it going to be Kevin Owens? I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to the other big match that's on the card, what most people are probably looking forward to is this. This is the Terror Twins versus Liv and Dom. Now, this match has a story that goes back years. Well, not years. Girl, you tripping. Story that goes back months. You can say years when it comes to Liv, and Rhea, but it really goes back months. And these four are finally going to clash at Bash in Berlin. Quite frankly, I think Liv and Dom are going to take this W, and then this will lead to them going into Bad Blood and finally having it out at Bad Blood. With all that being said, it could go either way, but if I had to bet, my money would be on Liv and Dom. Moving on to the other big match on this card that has a really good lead up and storyline is Gunther versus Randy Orton. Now, if you're not quite sure as to why this is happening or how these two ended up in this particular predicament, in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament, it was Gunther versus Randy Orton, who was at 75% capacity. Randy Orton, despite his little injury or his nagging injury, was not necessarily bested on the best of terms. Gunther beat him, but his shoulder was up, visibly up, and the referee counted it. And as they always say, it's the referee's discretion and the decision is final, which means Gunther won over Randy, despite Randy having a true claim to the King of the Ring tournament crown, despite the fact that they won't revisit it. Gunther won, and there was nothing anybody could do about it. But instead of addressing it in the ring and allowing them to fight it out once again, they decided to have a little callback match for these two leading up to now at Bash in Berlin. Now, these two are going to be battling it out, and they've made it quite personal. Gunther has a tendency to do that with his opponents. He likes to get underneath their skin. And with him being in his hometown, and of course being the hometown hero, this is going to be a really cool moment for him specifically. But it also was a cool moment for Randy. Randy is in his prime as of right now. He's a 14-time champion, I believe, and it will only be fitting for him to take down one of the most dominant and feared champions in WWE history. No matter what title Gunther has ever held, he has always been someone who has held it and held on to it tight, but done it with class and finesse. He has been able to defend his championships without any asterisks next to it, and he has always, always, always upheld the integrity of the ring. Whether you love Gunther or hate him, he is what he claims to be. But Randy Orton, he's the Viper, okay? He has always been the Viper, the legend killer, and he has just been a superior athlete no matter who he's going up against. But in this case, it seems that the two behemoths, or these two mountains, these two titans have equaled out. And now we're going to get to see who really is the best of the best. My money's going to be on Gunther. And as much as I love Randy and everything Randy has been doing right now, Gunther is going to proceed forward into Bad Blood, which they could still push this out to Bad Blood and let these two fight it out at Bad Blood, which in my mind makes perfect sense. But we'll just have to wait and see until Bash in Berlin. Moving on, the tag team titles for the women are being contested in Bash in Berlin. These four women have been at odds for quite some time. Now, the last time that they met, they actually were in a triple threat. And at that time, Jade and Bianca were the tag team champions, and Isla and Alba were chasing the titles. Jade and Bianca lost those titles at Clash at the Castle, and they never got pinned for it due to the triple threat rules and the fact that it was Shayna Baszler who got pinned. Shit happens, you know. But instead of crying about it and making a big deal about it, the girls picked themselves back up and they requested their rematch, and they got it at Bash in Berlin. Despite the fact that a bunch of other people got title matches before them, they still waited and they got their chance to go up against the current tag team champions. Now, Isla and Alba are the ones who are the rabbit, I guess, and they're the ones being chased by the hare, which would be Jade and Bianca. Who do I think is going to win? Unfortunately for Jade and Bianca, I believe that Alba and Isla will retain these titles. It may be on some nefarious shit, but I think that they're going to retain them. At some point, these two women are just too big to be in the same orbit. And while I think they can split them up amicably and let them move forward on their own, people obviously want them to be at odds and they want someone to turn on the other. It's always got to go some kind of way. And I don't know how it's going to play out for Jade and Bianca, but if they suffer this loss at Bash in Berlin, this could lead to some very interesting storylines being built. However, they also could get the titles back at Bash in Berlin and stretch this out to Bad Blood, which actually would work out in terms of Alba and Isla because they actually do have bad blood with the girls. So we'll just have to wait and see how this all plays out. But if I'm a betting woman, I'm going to put my money on Alba and Isla. I hate to say that because Jade and Bianca are my girls. Moving on to probably one of the biggest matches on this card. This is the strap match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Now, there's too much of this to actually go back and go over, so I'll just make it very simple. Drew McIntyre has something that CM Punk wants. He wants his bracelet back. And Drew McIntyre just loves the fact that the only way that he can get his attention is by this little $5 bracelet, as he calls it. Now, CM Punk sees more value in that bracelet than all the gold and all the riches in the land. So, of course, this strokes Drew McIntyre's ego that he's able to hold one over on the illustrious, the eluding CM Punk. You, the man with all the quips, the whips, and everything, the man who calls himself the devil when he's crossed, I can have something over you. Wow. My power is omnipotent. Honestly, I don't see Drew McIntyre winning this match. CM Punk is going to win. It's a strap match. And then they're going to head to Bad Blood and fight it out inside Hell in a Cell. Which, fine. Let's get this over with. I'm at the point now where I want this to be done and I want them to move forward. Okay? But yes, the boys are fighting it out. And that is your card for Bash in Berlin. I would imagine that this is going to close out the show. Or no, Gunther's match is probably going to close out the show. They're probably going to start off the show with the girls. Move into the top of the card. They might move into these four with the next match. Let them be at the top of the card. And then round it out with CM Punk and Drew, and then end up with Gunther and Randy. At least that's how I think it's going to be booked. But let's move into No Mercy. So NXT No Mercy has a much better card, in my opinion. It has much more nuance to the storylines, and everything seems to be quite flushed out. So let's start off with Zachary Wentz versus Wes Lee. Two former tag team champions and true best friends are now at odds. Wesley believes that Zachary Wentz has come back now after fucking up and is decided that he wants to ride his coattails to success. When in all actuality, Zachary Wentz just wants to be there for his friend. And although they lost their opportunity to regain those tag team titles, he is never, ever meant to hurt anything, to hurt Wesley. And he knows that he messed up when they were a tag team, but he has taken accountability and he's proceeded forward. But he feels like Wesley has changed only because he's sensitive and he doesn't really know how to channel his emotions properly. With all that said, the two men are at odds and they have no love lost at this moment. These two are going to battle it out and it'll determine who is best, who the best of the best is. Now, Wesley is on a different level at this moment. Not to say that he's better than Zachary Wentz, but he's on a different level and a different mindset. He's where Zachary Wentz was not too long ago over in TNA. When Zachary Wentz was doing anything to win and retain championships, that's the same thing that Wesley is going to be doing right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all is going to play out. But if I was Wesley and I was a heel, I'd use the spray paint against him just because that's something that they would have done in TNA. But that's just me. Let's move into the next one. Tony D'Angelo and Oba Femi are going to fight it out for that North American Championship. The Don versus the Ruler. It's been inevitable for quite some time, especially when the Ruler disregards the Don's power and makes him look like he means absolutely nothing in his presence. The Don doesn't like it, so he went on the attack. And this led to some intermingling between the two men that has led to this matchup at NXT No Mercy. I am actually looking forward to this matchup between these two. I think it's going to be a good match. If I had to pick, I apologize, I didn't pick with Zachary Wentz and Wesley. I believe Wesley is going to win this match. In this match, I am going to go for the Don, Tony D'Angelo. And if he doesn't win, expect him to be champion within the next couple of weeks. I don't think the feud will be over if he loses to Obafemi, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Obafemi is dropping that title to Tony D'Angelo this Sunday. Now, the tag team titles are up for grabs, and Axiom and Frazier are on the hunt once again. You see, they lost the tag team titles to Chase U, and on that night, they made it very clear that, yes, they were the better man in that matchup. But now they're refocused and they're ready to go, and they know for a fact that they're a better tag team than Chase U could ever be. And so Chase U has granted them their wish, and they are going to battle it out at NXT No Mercy. If I'm being honest, I'm not the most excited about this match at all. I could care less about Chase U going up against Axiom and Frazier. Do I think it's going to be a good match? Sure, it definitely can be. But do I care about it? Not necessarily. It's not something that I truly care about or need to watch. And quite frankly, I feel like we could have this on the kickoff and move forward accordingly. But this is going to be on the main card on at NXT No Mercy. So we'll see. But my money's going to be on Chase U retaining and keeping those tag team titles. The Women's North American Championship is up for grabs as well. Kaylani has been a great face champion, and she has had a couple of adversaries, but she has faced nothing like Wendy Choo. The dark side of Wendy Choo is out, and she is on a rampage. And of course, she had a little bit of help with her friend, Rosemary, this past Tuesday. Now, Wendy has made it very clear that she wants that championship, and she's going to do everything in her power to get it. And of course, Kaylani has been taking her on head up. But these last couple of weeks, she's been getting laid out. Now, prior to this week, she didn't get laid out. She laid out Wendy, and she made it very clear that she was no longer going to be a victim. But this past Tuesday, Wendy came up behind Kaylani, took her down, and it was over. She was laid out, and Kaylani was holding that championship above her head. We love that for Wendy, but I don't think Wendy's going to win. I don't think she's going to win. While I think Wendy is a big problem for Kaylani, I do think that Kaylani probably is going to beat Wendy Chu. Now, there may be some who may disagree with me, but I think that Kaylani is going to walk away with that championship. If she doesn't, I'll be surprised. But again, Shawn Michaels being the booker, baby, you never know what you're going to get with Shawn Michaels. Let's move into the bigger titles. The NXT Women's Championship is being contested by none other than Miss Parker. Miss Parker, can I talk to you real quick, Miss Parker? Miss Jada Parker has made it very clear that she is unapologetically herself and she is going to come after Roxanne with everything that she got. Now, Roxanne, being overly confident once again, seemed that she was going to try to intimidate and disrespect Jada Parker, and Jada Parker wasn't having it. This past Tuesday, while she was having her interview, her time, Roxanne interrupted. And Roxanne essentially told Jada Parker that her story is no different from anybody else's and that she's heard it all before. And she's not going to have anything different coming into this match. She's going to be another victim for her to take over and just to prove how great she is as NXT champion. Simple as that. Jada Parker told her straight up, I'm going to slap the taste out your mouth. And slapped that girl in her face. Slapped her so hard, she fell out the damn chair. But the key part about this was not only the slap, it was who Jada Parker was talking to after she slapped her. We don't know who she was talking to, but the rumors are swirling. Could it be Stephanie? Could it be Julia? It could, but we don't know who she was talking to. Some people even think it was Cora. But honestly, I don't think it's Cora. I think it's either Stephanie or Julia. Either way, if Jada Parker is able to pull off the impossible, because while I love Jada Parker, Roxanne Perez is what she claims to be, the prodigy. She is one of the best in NXT, if not the best, seeing as how she has a championship that defines her as the best. But all of that can come crashing down, and we've seen that happen with overly confident champions time and time again. No matter how dominant you are, empires fall. There are no exceptions. And in Roxanne's case, it's just a matter of time before her empire begins to crumble. Maybe it'll happen with Miss Parker. Maybe it won't. But if I was a betting woman, I'd put my money on Roxanne Perez because the next opponent that she goes up against may not be as easy to defeat. With all that being said, the last matchup we have is between our champ, Ethan Page, and Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. The killer part about this is that Joe Hendry isn't the only person you're going to have to concern yourself with in this match. Oh, nay. The one you got to concern yourself with is the current referee, which happens to be Trick Williams. Now, there are a lot of variables in this match that could cause some chaos. Number one, Trick Williams has a vendetta against Ethan Page, but he hasn't been going after Ethan Page. He's been trying his damnedest to work his way back up to Page so he has a legitimate chance at fighting him, which in all honesty, I'm proud of him for that. But at the same time, you have a championship match clause that you should have had in your contract. Should have had a clause in there that says, I deserve a rematch. Which he has a legitimate claim to Ethan Page's championship. He was not pinned for the title, number one. And number two, he should be able to have a rematch for that championship. With all that being said, there is also another variable that is not being considered in this match either. That is Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne has a receipt against Trick Williams, obviously. Trick cost him an opportunity at the championship, and now he's a referee I guarantee you, I can see exactly what's going to happen in this matchup. Although Shawn Michaels isn't as transparent as Triple H, I have a feeling that this match isn't going to go as planned. And Ethan Page is going to win on some bullshit, but he's going to win nonetheless. Now, I love Joe Hendry, but Joe Hendry beating Ethan Page and becoming the NXT championship and not being a champion in his own company, I don't see that happening. But again, Shawn Michaels has been known to do some crazy shit. So we never know what this man has planned. But as of right now, that is the card for NXT No Mercy. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. God, I've been talking this whole time and my banner was not up. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about NXT No Mercy's card and how you feel about Bash and Berlin's card. If both cards are booked to your liking, comment in the comment section below. If the card is not necessarily to your liking, you prefer NXT No Mercy to Bash and Berlin, let me know in the comment section below. I really want to hear you guys' thoughts. I want to get into a little bit more conversations with you guys. My opinion is not the only opinion that matters in this IWC. And although this is my platform, I do love y'all and I do appreciate y'all. And even though we may disagree, we can still have a good discord and conversation. With all that being said, I'll see you guys after Bash in Berlin tomorrow, which I believe starts at like 11 with the kickoff. And then it might start at like 12 or 1 for the actual show. I'll be here after the show is over to give you guys my thoughts on the PLE and how everything went down. I'll do the same thing for NXT No Mercy. I love y'all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.